The following episode of The Kingdom of Isolation contains footage from the film being discussed. The footage is used solely for the purposes of education, commentary, and criticism under fair use. Please support the animators by watching this film on Disney Plus or home media where available. This episode also contains spoilers throughout.
Hello my fellow Disney fans, and welcome to the Kingdom of Isolation. When times of trouble, why not celebrate the magic of Disney? I'm Kenzie Retro, and today we're opening a very strange book in Disney history. We're looking at Belle's Magical World, released direct-to-video in 1998. Released quietly, stitched together from unused television episodes, and largely ignored by audiences, this film exists in a liminal space, neither sequel nor series, neither theatrical release nor direct-to-video success. It traps Belle back inside Beast Castle, not as a prisoner this time, but as a hostess in a world where nothing really changes. So what does it mean when a story about growth, freedom, and transformation is repackaged into something static and endlessly polite? You end up with the worst animated film that Disney have ever made. Why does Belle's Magical World feel so, isolated from the original film, from Disney canon, and from the audience itself? Today, we're exploring how a movie meant to be magical became a quiet echo for something more meaningful, and what that says about nostalgia, control, and the limits of happily ever after. The film consists of 3 episodes of an unreleased television series, loosely woven together into a feature-length story, and also based on the original Disney animated feature. Why somebody thought this would be a great idea is beyond me. Anyway, it was produced by Walt Disney Television Animation and animated by Toon City Animation Inc. in Manila in the Philippines, and Tai Wang Film Productions in Bangkok. Finished and copyrighted in the fall of 1997, at the time when Beauty and the Beast and the Enchanted Christmas was released. The film was originally set for release on January 13th, 1998, but was then pushed to February 17th for unknown reasons. So here we go, let's just get this over with. First story, The Perfect Word, and right out the gate, I do not like the worse than cheap computer animation for the library and the book. Harvey Cohen composed the music. Harvey would go on to write the music for the far superior and far more memorable and far more comedic and absolutely hilarious South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Because that's what Brian Boitano would do. David Orkin Stiers provides the narration that we're all familiar with at this point. Belle's in a castle, starts to become friends with the Beast. Blah, 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 blah. Let's just get this over with. You want to know why this is widely regarded as one of, if not the worst direct-to-video sequels Disney have ever made? You just need to look at how garbage the animation is. And that's even being generous. This is worse than bottom of the barrel.
Chandelier, you look radiant. Together, you and Lumiere will be the perfect light.
Height, you say? And what has our height got to do with anything?
And here we go. Can't believe I didn't cover this sooner just to get it out of the way. April Winchell, Jeff Bennett, Jim Cummings. No, I'm not doing the gags today. This does not deserve any gags. Gregory Grutt replacing Haley Joel Osment, and Anne Rogers replacing Angela Lansbury. The latter one for the best. Rob Paulson and Kimmy Robertson are the new names added to the cast this time around. Kimmy actually, well, I say Kimmy's one of the new names. She actually voiced the Feather Duster, whose name is Fifi in this film instead of Babette in the original, or Plumette in the live-action remake. I would rather watch the live-action remake than this. Beast makes an order that's urgent, and I am not taking any more time than I need to on this to find out what it is he's ordering. So again, I'm just getting this over with. The letter is sent, and Lumiere says dinner is served.
She makes me nervous, Lumiere. Why is that?
And to think this takes place in the timeline where, bear with me, Forte's defeated. They've had something. They've had the song "Something" there, and it's before the final showdown with Gaston. Seriously, why? Lumiere is having to teach Beast how to impress Belle. This is something you don't teach. This is something you learn naturally over time. You don't teach someone to impress them.
Calm, serene, in a word, harmonious.
Take notes, Owl. This is how you use complex words in the English language. Sparingly. That's Webster the dictionary, by the way. And I'm not taking the time to bring up who voices who. So we're now about to get to the biggest reason this ranks among the worst direct-to-video sequels ever made. Lumiere and Chandelier are having a petty squabble over the lighting in the room, and this is somehow a running gag throughout this. Chandelier mishears everything, and they try to pass it off as funny when it's anything but. Beast and Belle are talking about Cinderella, something else I'd rather be watching. Look, I would rather watch one of the segments from Cinderella 2 over this. There you go. Beast is too warm, and the window is open because of how warm it is, and now it's too cold for everyone else. Beast, you are covered in fur. You have no excuse.
It's my castle, and I make the rules.
And here's the biggest reason why this is so infamous. The completely petty and unnecessary squabbles between Belle and Beast in each story they are involved in together. This was meant to be an episode, and to think this was meant to be an episode for the cancelled TV series. I'm glad it got cancelled. They should have cancelled the rest of this and pretend it didn't exist. But no, you'd rather pretend The Black Cauldron doesn't exist. You'd rather pretend that films like Meet the Robinsons don't exist in the end credits of Wish. Keep moving forward, something the creator of your company, Walt Disney himself, actually said. And yes, you would rather pretend something like Song of the South does not exist when zippity doo-dah, zippity day, my oh my, it won an Oscar today.
I suppose I do owe him an apology. For calling him rude, I mean.
So, you'll do it?
Yes, right after he apologizes to me first.
Belle, you do not owe him anything. You had every right to call him out for being rude. We then get to one of the most infamous moments as well, that ends up becoming a meme.
I will never apologize!
Just wow! I've only ever watched this once before when it was on the Disney Channel and it was just something on in the background for my younger sisters. They showed no interest, and I'm not surprised. A letter is written to Belle, thanks to LaPlume, the Quill, writing what Webster says onto one of Crane's sheets of paper. Blah.
The trouble between us is over.
Seriously? Over that quickly? I'm using the special edition of this film, and I still have to sit through another 76 minutes of this. The things I put myself through for you guys. I haven't felt this riled up about the film since The Fox and the Hound 2, and that was just over a month ago. Belle apologizes to Beast, even though she didn't need to. This doesn't last long because, annoyingly, as Beast is eating his favorite snack too loudly while Belle is trying to read, giving us another meme from not one, but 2 frames of this film. They actually hold on those frames. That's not a mistake. They actually do that. That was intentional, supposedly. Someone at Disney thought this was acceptable to do. I hope they got fired for that.
We wouldn't want you to have to write another letter of apology, would we?
What do you mean?
I was wondering when I'd have to add to the useless Canadian tally. And here we are. Beast snaps again and accuses Belle of forgery with the letter. Crane confesses, and Beast has had enough. He throws all 3 of them out of the castle. Can you scream overreaction any louder for those at the back?
Yes, it is a pity, but one can hardly blame the master. After all, forgery is a crime.
I still have 17 minutes left of the special edition to go. And these brainless characters are trying to say that they are the ones at fault, when in reality, it's Beast at fault for absolutely everything. The level of overreaction is beyond unacceptable. I am seriously about to give minus points for the first time ever here in the Kingdom of Isolation. Beast actually apologizes, Belle forgives him, leading to Lumiere forgiving Chandelier, and what the hell did they do to Mrs. Potts' eyes? Basic continuity! Learn how to animate! We then get Listen With Our Hearts to finish this story. The only positive I can say about this entire film is Paige's vocals are again faultless, even if the song feels completely phoned in. Time for story 2, Fifi's Folly. Fifi is looking forward to her 5th anniversary of her first date with Lumiere, and in typical romance cliche fashion, Lumiere is in a panic.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
This feels a bit unnecessary, much like the entirety of this film is completely unnecessary. Belle puts out the fire with Mrs. Potts. Unnecessary drama. Also, wouldn't that cause some of the books to be ruined regardless?
Surely you'll simply say what's in your heart.
Madame, you cannot know much about women.
Look who you're talking to, genius! Hello, Pot? This is the kettle. Fifi then starts getting jealous over the fact that Lumiere is spending time with Belle, making her think that he's cheating on her. They'll have all this sorted out in the next 20 minutes or so. Why is this taking so long?
He serenades the awful creature.
And oh, yes, because of moments like this. Fifi, for some reason, decides to break down in tears, giving us more unnecessary drama, making her behavior be absolutely disgusting, which will lead to a complete misunderstanding. Mrs. Potts tries to comfort Fifi. Laplume claims he wrote the book on love. The tub, I'm not taking the time to learn the names, doesn't want to be involved with helping Lumiere before being convinced to do so. Fifi is actively cheating on Lumiere with Cogsworth right in front of him.
This is getting embarrassing. We should leave.
The true embarrassment is the people who worked on this film and thought this would be acceptable for kids to watch. Honestly, everyone involved in making this, you should all hang your heads in shame for this. Lumiere is transforming the tub into a sled for tomorrow night and joins Belle to complete the preparations.
If I cannot have the joy, no one shall.
Can you scream diva any louder if you tried? She then tries to sabotage the sled, which is a major overreaction to something that was a complete misunderstanding. Fifi and Lumiere go on their anniversary date, which then leads to drama with the sled. Lumiere is completely oblivious to what's unfolding until it's too late, and they both start screaming like bloodless cowards. Belle just misses catching them. They're about to go over the edge, but Mrs. Potts and Co. save them after they confess their love for each other. Every single main character has gone through some form of character assassination. Mrs. Potts, Chip, Cogsworth, Lumiere, and yes, even Belle and Beast. The things I put myself through for you guys. Consider yourselves grateful you don't have to sit through this like I had to. Seriously, every single segment of this has the same sequence of events. Plot of the segment, childish arguments, unnecessary drama, resolution, and that's it. Just get me to the final segment, Broken Wing, so I can be done with this. 20 minutes to go, and I never have to watch this again. We start off with Beast yelling for Cogsworth, only to be criticized for potentially losing control of his staff. This is an absolute disaster.
And, what does Master wish for his luncheon?
Perfection. Nothing less.
Guess what happens at lunch? A bird is injured in the snowstorm, and Belle takes it upon herself to look after the bird, only for Beast to eventually take the bird prisoner. More petty childish bickering, giving something we already saw in the first film, giving something we already saw in the first film and handled with more grace than one frame of this film will ever have. Belle took her father's place as prisoner. She willingly became prisoner. Enough of the Stockholm Syndrome BS. Stockholm Syndrome, burn it to the ground because it doesn't exist in Beauty and the Beast.
She is new to the castle, sire. Certain courtesy might be afforded her.
Do you understand how continuity works? This is what happens when you have TV episodes just stitched together to make this embarrassment of a product. Belle eventually accepts Beast's offer for lunch, with Cogsworth insisting on lunch being at 12. The wardrobe here is worse than insufferable.
But enough about me. Assuming, of course, there could ever be enough about me.
Cogsworth, your narcissistic nature is worse than Gaston's, but at least Gaston was entertaining, because when he was a lad, he ate 4 dozen eggs every morning to help him get large, and now that he's going to eat 5 dozen eggs, so he's roughly the size of a barge. Mrs. Potts manages to keep everyone in line because no one wants to listen to narcissistic scum that has had their character assassinated.
What time is it?
I don't know, sir.
You don't know?
Cogsworth, you are a clock that supposedly doesn't know the time. This is what we would expect from Formula One's useless Canadian. Belle's looking after the bird while Beast crucifies Cogsworth after he blurts out the potential mistake of lunch being at 12 o'clock midnight. Beast tries to get the bird out of the castle, only to fall down the stairs, injuring himself in the process. This is what happens when you are fueled by nothing but unyielding rage.
The bird must never leave the castle.
After you just said you wanted it out. Make your mind up. Beast then puts the bird in the cage. Seriously, Cogsworth then becomes a dictator, which is absolutely diabolical behavior and worse than unacceptable. The bird won't sing for Beast, so he tries to get Cogsworth to sing, which fails. Beast then tries singing, which also fails. Cogsworth gets Belle, and we get even more childish bickering. Beast calms down, sets the bird free, and almost slips down the castle. Cogsworth forgot to mend the cloak before being saved by everyone on the ground. Belle and Beast have lunch. The bird comes back to visit with a friend of their own, and that's where the film just abruptly ends. There's no proper closure. The book closes, credits roll, get to the scores, and burn this trash to the ground! The story, 0 points.
Congratulations, you're a failure.
And it will not be the last time you hear that. The story is an absolute shambles. There is no sense of continuity whatsoever, with each segment feeling like a tired rehash of the same uninspired plot beats. Rather than building upon the original's charm, the narrative lurches from one recycled scenario to the next, offer nothing new or engaging. Every episode stitched together feels hollow, as if the writers simply copied and pasted scenes without any thought to coherence or progression. The lack of originality and the repetitive nature of each segment makes the entire experience tedious and utterly forgettable. Characters, also 0.
Congratulations, you're a failure.
The characters in this travesty are nothing short of a disaster. Their behavior throughout is marked by a staggering level of immaturity and incompetence, highlighted by ceaseless idiocy and childish squabbling. Rather than display any growth or depth, each one seems determined to undermine the story with bickering and petulance. Instead of endearing themselves to the audience, they become exhausting caricatures incapable of rational thought or meaningful interaction. The result is a cast that not only fails to carry the narrative, but actively detracts from it, making every scene a painful experience in patience. The visuals, -11.
Congratulations, you're a failure.
This marks the first occasion in the Kingdom of Isolation ever that I have had to give negative points. But it's more than absolutely justified. The so-called animation is an absolute eyesore, scraping the bottom of the barrel with its shoddy execution and lackluster artistry. Each frame reeks of laziness. as if the animators themselves had lost all interest and simply cobbled together whatever they could find. Rather than capturing any sense of magical wonder, the visuals consistently undermine the entire experience. Backgrounds are bland, movement is awkward, and any attempt at style falls flat. It is a visual disaster from start to finish, leaving the audience longing for the days when animation actually meant something. In short, the animation is so dire that it drags the whole production down with it. The soundtrack I am going to give half a point, but that half point is for one song only. The soundtrack fares little better than the rest of this so-called film, offering up a parade of instantly forgettable tunes that barely register. The only faint glimmer of quality is Listen With Our Hearts, which manages to stand out amidst an otherwise bland and uninspired selection. Every other piece of this soundtrack is utterly unremarkable, a complete nothing burger, leaving no impression and failing to evoke any emotion or atmosphere. In the end, the music is just insipid and inconsequential as it is just as insipid and inconsequential as everything else. The lone decent number buried beneath a mountain of mediocrity. But we're going to be taking that half point off because the legacy is a 0.5. Well, I say it's a 0.5. It's a minus 0.5.
Congratulations, you're a failure.
I gave the soundtrack half a point, and the legacy immediately loses that half point. And to add insult to injury, this catastrophe somehow managed to secure a rating of 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is astonishingly a better critical score than The Enchanted Christmas, which is saying something. The Enchanted Christmas had 11%. This got a higher score than that. Rotten Tomatoes somehow thought this was better than The Enchanted Christmas. And in a baffling twist of fate, it even managed to pick up 2 Annie Award nominations, one for Best Home Entertainment Production, mercifully losing to Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, and another for Paige O'Hara for female voice acting, though, quite frankly, it's mind-boggling that she was nominated for this embarrassment rather than The Enchanted Christmas. Naturally, she lost to Ming-Na Wen's iconic performance as Mulan, and rightly so. In the final reckoning, this film deserves to be crowned the absolute nadir of Disney animation. Officially, to me, the worst animated Disney film ever made. Worse than Chicken Little, worse than Home on a Range, worse than Fox and the Hound 2, worse than Ariel's Beginning, worse than Hunchback 2. It somehow manages to be even more dreadful than the much maligned Chicken Little, as I've just mentioned, which, for all the film's faults, at least it boasted All I Know by Pfeiffer fighting on its soundtrack. By comparison, this has worse than nothing, a legacy of mediocrity and disappointment. So, you're probably wondering, what happens with the scores? Well, minus 22%.
Congratulations, you're a failure.
Bottom of the board, and nothing will ever beat it in the Disney Toon Studios lineup. Just pretend this doesn't exist. And that's all I'll say, because I am done with this film and I am never going to talk about it again. So, mercifully, that is it for the Kingdom of Isolation today. If you enjoyed this, if you enjoyed me ripping this film apart, hit the thumbs up so that my work wasn't in vain, please. And if you want to be part of the Kingdom of Isolation yourself, you can hit the subscribe button down at the bottom, click the bell, turn on notifications so you don't miss when an episode goes live. I mentioned my Passes page, which will have an extended episode, an extended version of this episode, which will focus on the 4th story in the film. I need something much more wholesome. I need something much more wholesome.
Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas.
But until then, make each moment count, and I'll see you guys next time in the Kingdom of Isolation.